I have a big bloom right over here along the edge of the paper. When you're working with a big wet wash on a piece of paper like that, and when you have tape along the edges, water tends to collect right along the edge of the tape. And if you're not careful and pick it up, you end up with a bloom like I've got here. Generally, it's best to avoid the blooms so you don't have to try to fix them. But if you do get one, like this one, you can actually fix it depending on the colors you're using. Now, in this case, we're not using staining colors. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, neither of those colors actually stain the paper. If you're using something like a phthalo color, which is a very heavy stain, or a quinacridone color, which is also probably a stain, it's harder to get the blooms up because the paint is actually staining the paper. But in this case, I've got my paper dry, and that's the first thing. When you want to fix a bloom, get that paper completely dry so that it doesn't feel cool when you put the back of your hand on it. That's how you can tell. So as long as it doesn't feel like it's cool, that means the water's gone, the paper's completely dry, or bone dry is the way it's often described. Clean a brush with clear water, absolutely clean, clear water, and then gently brush that clear water over the bloom. And again, for a paint that's not a stain, like ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, neither of which are a stain, you can probably see what's happening. I'm getting rid of that ragged edge. And what I'm really doing with the brush is I'm picking up that color that was there that got pushed back out by all that water sitting at the edge of the tape. It pushed the paint away from the tape. It bled out into that wet wash, or partially dry wash, I should say. Dropped the pigment there at the edge of the wave, and that's what creates that ragged edge. Now that I've gotten rid of the ragged edge, what I have to do is go back in with the two colors I used, the ultramarine blue for one. So I'm going to blend some of that original color back in there. And with clear water, I'm going to blend it out, and I'm going to blend that color all the way back up to the edge of the bowl. And I'm really going to work through almost the entire shape, that entire big wash shape that I put in there. And that's to keep from getting a hard edge anywhere in that shape. So that's how you fix a bloom. Now that I've done that, I want to make sure it doesn't bloom again. So the next thing I'm going to do is blot my brush, and I'm going to run it right along the edges, really, of all of these pieces of tape. There, there, there. Just to pick up that excess water so that it doesn't bloom back in. And now the next step is to go get this dry again. So if you had to fix your bloom, that's how you do it.